taratibu, mafundisho taratibu ya point baada ya ingine. Tayarisha na karatasi yako ama kitabu chako ili uweze kupata kitu kinaweza kukusaidia. Mimi maombi yangu ni ya kwamba tunapofunga mwaka huu, mwaka ujao tuanze mwaka katika njia tofauti. Amen. Yes. Na ombi langu ni ya kwamba tuache kuamini ya kwamba haiwezekani, kwa sababu Bishop wetu Masinde alikuja hapa akatuambia, saa hii unalia hakuna pesa na unaweka sufuria kwa kichwa. Kuna mtu amenunua ngari DK kutoka Mombasa. Mwingine ametoka kubadilisha makaratasi ya title deed. Na mwingine ni nyumba ambao amejenga inafunguliwa. Akatuambia kwamba inategemea wewe mwenyewe utaenda laini gani. Ukienda ya kwamba haiwezekani, ni uamuzi wako. Sasa mimi nikasema nimeama huko kwa kuweka sufuria kwa kichwa. Bwana asifiwe. Nikahama huko. Nikasema sasa mimi nitakuwa mwaminio ya kwamba hata mwaka huu kuna baraka zangu. Now, mwaka unaendelea kuisha. Na ni vizuri tujitayarishe even for a wonderful start by next year. Now, that is by receiving knowledge and the wisdom and understanding. Sasa hizi vitu asikujangi tu zinafundishangwa. Are you ready to receive the speaker of the day? We have one of us, as I've said, anaitwa Michael Mwema Musyoka. Nimepata? Michael Mwema, nikikosea utakosoa tu. We are friends. Kwa hivyo Michael Mwema Musyoka is an husband to Stella Kavengi, and they have their children around here. I think wengi wenu mmewajua, na hasa najua mmejua Stella zaidi. Mara nyingi amesimama na amekuwa pamoja nasi katika upande wa development and many other things. So are you ready to have him come and share with us? So tumpatie 1 hour. Exactly 1. Tunakubaliana. Maana ile point utaacha ndio itakuwa ya muhimu. So make sure you receive the best. So let's join our hands together as I bring Michael to come to share with us. I think this one can be better. Nikusindikishe.
Praise God. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Thank you, Pastor, for this invitation. Pastor and the family, I always say that they are our friends, and I knew them through my wife, who is also my friend, my co-investor. We have been in this journey for some time. Mami, si usimame usalimie kanisa. Thank you. Together we are blessed with 2 kids, Prince and Joy. Wako kule Sunday school. And we thank God for them. Sometimes this year when I came, Pastor, you were preaching about people of honor, if I remember, and if the church can remember very well. You mentioned, I think it's according to New Testament, whereby we have the pastors, we have the evangelists, we have the teachers, and I think our pastor is here. He is a man of honor, together with Mrs. Mudengi. They are people of honor. And since today, I'm also a teacher, I think I'm also falling part of that. I've been following the teachings and what the other speakers have been telling us in terms of the spiritual nourishment and how we should stay and live with one another, which is very important, and that is spiritual nourishment. Today, we will be learning more about the money and the investment, and not that I know much about that, but I'm very happy when the pastor called the students to pray for them. I felt like also standing because I'm also a student, but I'm doing something, I think we can call it the last level of education. Most of a student of PhD, which is a motivation from my wife, who stood with me throughout all that journey. So students, I'm standing here is also a motivation to you that if I can do it with the family, you guys can do it better than me. And that's what I believe. We will start with money. We want to know, I know everyone knows money. If you put ant in your pocket or the purses you're carrying, you find you have money. But what is money? Pesa. What is money? Money, if we can define as the students of finance or economics, we say it is a medium of exchange. But is it really a medium of exchange? We will know more about money today. And we'll also see how we can grow the money. We'll also touch more about the investment, because you can't do investment with faith only. When I came, the praise and worship team, they sang they were leading us with motivational songs. And I call them motivational because it's all about faith. And faith, mostly it is very much personal. If I'm not wrong, they sang Najua. Najua atatenda. And I was thinking, the motivation behind that song, Najua Bwana utatenda. It's because that person has faith that the Lord will help us to achieve something that that person has already set goals for, whether akona pesa ama ana. The person has faith that I will reach where I want. I will do what I want through Christ himself. So, having said that money, we define it as a medium of exchange, it has so many powers. There are so many types of money. Thank you. There are so many types of money. Pesa ziko aina tofauti. Na ile pesa, the way you can define money, ama penye unaweza ongelea juu ya pesa, ni tofauti na mimi venye nitaiongelea. We'll come back to that. Venye nimesema pesa is a medium of exchange, ama ni kiwezesho. I will try kuchanganya. I will try mixing with Kiswahili. I'm not that off, but I'll try. Ningependa tuangalie sana venye ile pesa kidogo uko nayo, how you can multiply it. How can you make that money grow? We are all not blessed the same. Tumebarikiwa kitofauti. Kuna yule ameajiriwa, kuna yule amejiajiri, kuna yule akona biashara zake, kuna yule ana run biashara za mtu mwingine. Na hii yote ni kwa ajili ya pesa. And we all need money so that uweze kukula, uweze kuishi vizuri, uweze kusomesha watoto, uweze kuinvest. Hizi zote ni kwa sababu ya pesa. Now, what do we need to do so that our money, which the small money we have, the small money I have, that it can grow? We need to set goals. Number one, we need to set goals. Itabidi uketi. You accept, this is what I want to do. Nataka kufanya hivi. Na nataka kufika mahali, nataka kufika siku fulani. Ama this here. Sometimes, uanga na keti chini na mama. And tunakubaliana. By here 2022, tunataka tukue tumefanya kitu fulani. Whether we have money or not. That is faith. And that's why nilisema najua. That's what they were singing. That's faith. So having started with faith, we start working on that towards our set goals. If you work towards the set goals, it means you make sure there are budgets. And these budgets, you have to stick to the budgets. Kama mmesema tutanunua shares mahali fulani. Sometimes back, Safaricom, they was selling their shares, and after them, wengi sana wameuza. Those are just few examples. You set goals on what you want to achieve. Then you stick to the budget because you have a set goal. If you are able to stick to the budget, it means that whatever happens on the way will not distract you. Ama haita kutoa kwa ile njia umepanga which you are walking towards. The third one is after setting goals, after the budgets, working towards those budgets, then pesa itoshi. You must start somewhere. Lazima uanze mapema. You must start investing early. And early is relative. Very relative. Kila mtu akona usubuhi yake. Sometimes ninaongea na my bosses and they are young, but I have to call them boss. But they are young. That is their usubuhi. So you must start investing early. And investing, we are still talking about how to grow the money. We will still touch the portfolios and the investment. Once you have set the goals, you have to stick to the budget. After that, you start investing early. Those are things to grow the money. The other one on how to grow the money is building a portfolio. Portfolio is, we say, investment portfolios or diversified portfolios. Different types of portfolios means different types of investments. You can start a business. You can buy land. You can buy shares. You can invest in either bills, bonds. These are different types of portfolios. And the reason as to why I'm saying diversified portfolios, I'm out of portfolio nyingi, and they must be different, tofauti. Ni kwa sababu in case one fails, ama moja kikosa kukua, the other one will take care of your daily liabilities, ama whatever you want to meet. So lazima ukue na portfolio tofauti. Another way of growing money is getting out of debt. I remember our president when he was saying that ni afadhali kukufa kwa debt than to die poor. Tunaweza kuwa tulimuelewa tofauti. Debt is not bad. Completely, debt is not bad. Najua ziko, kuna Tala, the banks are giving all these, kuna Fuliza. Sometimes I do Fuliza, and my wife, najua hapendi, but I tell her it is okay, because I must get off that debt. There was a time, because hakuwa nataka, and alikuwa nataka nitoke kwa debt ya Fuliza, I decided to opt out. And I don't know what Safaricom does. Immediately after opting out, walinirudisha. Na wakanirudisha na pesa iko juu, nikamwambia sasa sitoki, because I am able to pay. And I told her I have not requested for that, but Safaricom, they don't want me to leave. So getting out of debt, lazima tuishi na madeni, but learn to pay your debts. It is very important. If I give you 20,000 today, freely, don't return. But if you come to me and tell me, Mike, give me 5,000, in 2 months' time, I'll repay. As a finance person, what I'll do, I'll not somewhere. I'm expecting, yes, she is my wife, but si amekopa, afanye kitu yake. I'll not somewhere. Then on this day, I'm expecting 2 months' time, I'll get back my 5K. Now, if she doesn't pay back, trust levels zinaanza kushuka. Ninakupatia pesa na unirudishiangi. Yes, it was an agreement. The problem which tunapitianga mara mingi ni we give money or we give these loans out of love, affection, and if you are given out of that and you had promised, ulikuwa umepromise nitarudisha, make sure you honor. Get out of that debt, because if it is a debt that accrues interest, the debt will keep on growing. That's why I'm saying, jua kulipa madeni. Deni ita grow. Ifike mahali, I think the guys who have access to the KRA portals, wanaona, ukilogin pale, utaona, kama ulikuwa na deni last month, na interest ilikuwa 100, kesho itakuwa 120. Until you pay, this will keep on accruing. So, if the debt grows, ama kama itakuwa kubwa, inakula ile pesa ungebaki nayo. So it is better to pay out your debt in time. The other one is switch investments as your priorities change. Your priority might be buying shares. Your priority might be doing real estate. But things do change. If things change, make sure you change with the time. Usiseme niliachiwa hii na mzazi, ama when I was growing nilikuwa nataka kufanya hivi na I have to stick to that. But not knowing that things do change. Iyo investment, the return inaweza shuka. Bado tutafika kwa investment. It's growing money. The returns zinaweza shuka. When the returns start, the rate of return, ama ile percentage ukisema nilikuwa nataka ku make sure my portfolio grows na 10% kila mwaka. Kama nimeweka 1 million, after 1 year nipate 1.1, 2 years nipate another, it has grown from 1.1 to 1.2 something, because it is 10%. If that rate imeanza kushuka, switch investments. Look for another investment that will give more return than the initial investment. Ile itakupatia pesa mingi. We are all hustlers, including our president. Alisema yeye ni hustler. And it is very important also, whether you have what, make sure you have a side hustle. It is very important. It saves kwa ile usiku mbaya. My dad, siku moja nilifika kwa nyumba nikamwambia, I want to sell these goats and the cows, because nikianza kufanya mahesabu naona I'm paying so much, dawa nini. Yes, akakubaliana na mimi. I know unalipa pesa mingi kwa mfanyikazi, unalipa dawa nini. But do you remember there was a time ukuwa na pesa na tukauza tukapata pesa? It is expensive, but just have a side hustle. Mbuzi haina gharama mingi, hata unaweza funga nyumbani uachilie, haina vitu mingi. Kuku haina shida mingi, ni feeds tu. Chakula ndio imekuwa expensive. But these small hustles, matunda, tunaweza anza groceries. 1 + 1 makes 2. Na itawahi shuka. Start something that can give you an income. And that is a side hustle. Then another one, which I have 10 points on how to grow money, and we are on point number 8. Na nilikuwa nimeitaja, it is invest in tax saving instruments. Nilikuwa nimetaja something to do with make sure unaangalia the rate of return, make sure unaangalia the tax implications of every investment. That's why we are there. Sisi kama financial advisors, we are there. And it is always good to go to a financial advisor who also knows God, because we won't charge more. We'll be very lenient because we know this is a brother or sister. It will be cost effective. And that is also my side hustle. So investing in these tax saving instruments or businesses. In fact, another point can be, there are those who are landlords, wako na manyumba, na nyumba ni kubwa, sometimes ninaishi na mama tunamuuliza hii nyumba ni kubwa sana, I wish some rooms were outside. If you have extra room that is not attached to your house, to me, I see it as a business. You can rent it out. I remember a friend of mine who is Ethiopian or comes from Ethiopia. Aliniambia, mimi brother, I don't want to own a house in Nairobi. What I want, I'm used to just looking for inaitwa DSQ. Kwa nyumba kubwa na then kuna kanyumba kadogo pale. Anaenda kwa mwenyewe anamwambia mimi nataka unikodishie hii nyumba, how much you live it? Anamwambia sasa. So the guy was paying 15,000, yeye anataka mahali ya kulala. But he's a billionaire. Gari ile anakuja nayo ku drive. Anapark kwa DSQ. The last valuation, because niliona insurance, it was more than that million. But ananiambia, I don't need to spend because I'm not a Kenyan. I don't need to spend a lot of money. I just need somewhere to go and sleep. I wake up, I go and look for money. So lakini sisi tutataka kununua, kwenda kukodisha nyumba kubwa, but you can save that money to invest for something that can bring money. So if you have a spare house, instead ya kuifanya kama mahali ya kustore vitu, i-clean, ipeane. I remember sometimes when mama was approached by someone, alikuwa na tunyumba mahali za mabati, and alikuwa nataka ampatie, nikamwambia si upeane hizi nyumba. And but it's okay, though akaanza construction, so ile project yangu endelea. Offering consulting in your domain. Nimesema mimi ni financial advisor. I do these consultations, tax consultation, all this. Though I'm not marketing myself, but you need to do something out of what can give you money. There are so many businesses, salon business. Hiyo ni ukwasi. We say it is ukwasi Kiswahili, that is Kiswahili. It is something that you know, iko kwako. Kuna kinyozi business. They have initial investment. The rest ni wewe. Unaweza fanya vitu mingi sana. What I said, tax consulting. Unaweza anzisha watu kila siku people fall ill. Unaweza anzisha chemist, uuze madawa, which is a very nice business. One of friends told me ataanza, and I think hata hapa kanisani we need to be having those, because hata kwa Biblia kwa wale waliitwa, if I'm not wrong, pastor, they were also madaktari. Dr. Luke, thank you. So having known money and the ways to grow money, because you cannot invest mkono mtupu aulambwi. You cannot invest without money, but you need to have that money. You grow it to a level that you can say, I need to invest. But what is this? What are investments? And why invest? If I am also not wrong, the Bible talks about mtu yule mwerefu leaves inheritance kwa watoto wake na wajukuu. One thing I pray is that this church, no matter your age, start growing your money, start investing for your kids and your grandkids. It is very important. Sometimes I tell my wife, Mommy, I'm sorry. I like giving an example with you because I knew you for almost 20 years, and we thank God. Sometimes, Pastor, and tunasemanga, it is only 13, 14 years which are known, because the rest of the years we were courting, and that is known. Courting inakuwa kila kitu inaendelea. So I like giving an example with you because tumeishi pamoja sana. So what really investment requires your money? And if you can invest for your kids, I remember my uncle tukiishi Mombasa, alikuja akanitafuta akanipeleka mahali, and we were just having a soup. Akaniambia, I don't know whether your parents told you this, but I want to tell you because you are relocating to Nairobi. Acha nikueleze mtoto yangu. Ambia, tell me. Akaniambia, make sure you invest for your old age. Kaniambia, unaona watoto wangu? I have 4 kids. Wote wako majuu except 3 wako majuu, mmoja yako huko. But I don't disturb them because I've invested for my old age. In fact, wao ndo wananipigia simu niwapatie pesa. The young generation, invest for your old age. The older generation, invest for your old age. I'll tell you, nilisema mchana ama asubuhi ya mtu ni ile mahali umeamkia. If you invest for your old age, you will not suffer some of the things people go through: depression, anxiety, stress. These are sicknesses which originate mostly because of lack of money, and which comes from investment. There was an article I was reading somewhere. There is this gentleman who retired, was a civil servant. Na akasema, ninapewa 3 million. Na alikuwa nauliza, how can I invest this 3 million such that ninaweza kuwa nikipata pesa? There are so many suggestions. Do real estate, do treasury bills, do bonds, do stock, start online trading, so many. But I'll tell you, everything has a cost. What is the cost of that investment? The 3 million is there. But what is the return of the 3 million? My suggestion to such a person will be, invest some money. Don't do real estate. I'll tell you why. It is a booming business, but it is a capital intensive. It requires a lot of money for you to say, this house will be giving me, say, 20,000 a month. It is a lot. I'll tell you, go to treasury bills. These are, go to bonds, buy. Because it's like you are giving money to the government. And the government, you can't lose your money from the government. And the return is certain. If you are paid 15%, it is 15%. But with the house, today you get a tenant. When it is peak, tomorrow the tenant is not there. There is no return. But with this, if you do the bills, you will be earning. When I did my math that time, the return was more than that 1,000, which this person was asking if the person invests 2.5 and he's left with 500 to spend. So if he can get to 30,000 from 2.5 and he's left with 500 for another side hustle, that would be the best. But I tell you, even a 3-bedroom house constructing, my fellow investor, because I refer as a fellow investor because she's the family finance officer, she's the CEO of everything. I'm just there as a director and a co-director, and we run so many things. And she advises me. In fact, I should have introduced you that she is blessed to have a master's in investment and finance, which has assisted me because I don't have that. I did not do that because it is not my stronghold. But we do share a lot in the house. Pastor, when there will be a forum for couples, that you will also give me 20 minutes so that I can talk to them in another, yes. So, there are several types of investments. I was just mentioning them. I talked about stocks. I talked about treasury bills. I talked about real estate. And these are just few, which I'm just concentrating with 5 of them. SACCO, the insurance, form part of that. And there are commodities. I'll start with SACCO and the insurance. Kuna vitu zinaitwa policies za insurance. Utapata a salesperson on insurance amekuja kwako na kama yuko hapa, I'm doing this advert for free. Atakwambia invest for education plan. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Invest for this. It is your money. It has a return. Only that, yes, initially utakuwa ukifeel, I'm putting this money, napeana hii pesa, but it is your investment. So SACCO, they are very important. Insurance policies are very important. You can also do banks. You can do fixed deposit, but you have to negotiate a very good rate of return. Like now, First, the best investment is the people who have hard currencies. Hard currencies is zile tunaziita dollars, euros, pounds. Because Kenyan currency, saizi ime lose, tunasema it has depreciated, ama ime lose value na more than 30% for 1 year. For a period, say since June to now, it's more than roughly 18 months, it may lose value na more than 30%. So yule msee alienda akasema niko na 1 million, wache niweke kwa bank, nitakuja kufanya kitu. To you, ama kwako, you still have your 1 million. But if you tell me, nilikuwa na 1 million June last year, June 2022, nitakwambia, but how much do you have? Niambia 1 million, nitakwambia una 1 million. It is just 1 million unaiona. But the value of that money, as compared to that time and today, inaweza kuwa hata ni 700. Because it may lose value. That's why tunasema invest your money mahali utapata pesa. If you leave it kwa bank, banks, I'll go there, they will give me money, I'll pay them interest, but it will be benefiting the banks. So invest your money. So having said that there is SACCO, there is also real estate, which also comes with this, with its challenges. Nilisema tenant anaweza kosa, but it is a very good investment if favor locates you. Since sisi ni wase wa favor, na tunaamini if favor locates you, your business will keep on thriving. And I will tell you the secret of why you can invest and find that your investment is doing so well than adjacent investment of the same magnitude. Ama kubwa, hata kubwa kuliko yako, lakini yours is doing very well. I'll give you the secret. So I talked about stocks. Stocks you can buy. These, we have NEC, I'm a National Exchange, Securities Exchange. You can go there. Unaweza pata za kampuni ile inafanya vizuri. Kuna Safaricom's are there. Kuna KCB's are there. Cooperative banks. Just make sure you check the better. Kuna kitu tunafanyanga mahesabu. Ukikuja kwangu, sitakwambia hii biashara inafanya vizuri. Nitakwambia let us calculate the risk, the level of risk. Tuangalie venye imeperform na ni advise based on that. Sitakwambia Uhuru kampuni yake ni NCBA, siuende huko, hiyo haiwezi kaanguka. No. But what is the return? Yes, haitaanguka, but what is the return? So those, they are part of some guys' side hustles because they will have to assist in terms of giving ideas. So I talked about commodities. You can have agriculture. I'll quote a friend of mine whom I quoted. I told my wife about her. Amelis shamba kubwa hapa Machakos. And the lease was very cheap, though cheap is still relevant kulingana na venye unaweza. So alilease 7 acres. Na the idea is to do kitunguu. Just kitunguu tu. So amelease at at I think 90,000. Now, already after leasing, it is next to a river. Akachimba just kisima na akapanda mahindi. After first harvest, she got 80,000 for 2 acres as she was preparing the rest. And our idea is to do the onions. And akaniambia 1 acre will give her not less than $500,000. Not less than $500,000. But you see, the investment will be the cost of hiring or leasing the land, mbegu, maji, and there are other guys who give us this water pumping mechanism, mama pumps, at a fee, very affordable. I think one anaitwa ni Sani Kacha, who pay 4,000. But a month, after 24 months, 2 years, you are done with that. But unajua tutasema, hii ni kazi ya kucheza na mchanga, but I want white collar jobs. I'll tell you, if you find us tukichimba mashimo, tupande mti, you think that we are not learned. But I'll tell you, apart from kusoma, you need food to eat. And sometimes you must sweat. So, the commodities are very important. If you can, in fact, if you have land, think about investing in that land. Don't lease it out. Think how that land can give you money. But how? I've just mentioned 5 types of investment, and there are so many. It depends with your risk, level of risk. A friend of mine niambianga, the risk appetite. Unaweza tafuna kiwango gani ya that risk? How much can you allow? But now, for you to do an investment, you must do your own research. That's why I mentioned this friend of mine. She works at Absa Bank, I think severally. And so she is employed at somewhere. Lakini, she had to do her own research. Saizi kitunguu, hata kuna wakati mama alikuwa anasema hii kitunguu imepanda bei, will just be boiling food. Nikamwambia ni sawa bado, nitakunywa soup. But if we don't buy that onion, ni kazi ya mtu. So we must support one another. So if you do your own research for that thing that you want to do, nikianza nilisema, don't do something or any business or you want to grow money because Michael is growing it in this way. Pastor, I will tell you, we have diversified our portfolios. You'll touch it, you say it is here, that what you know, but tomorrow I'll tell you, Pastor, I want to show you something else. I want you to pray for this because I have that faith. Do your own research. Don't do what I have done. Don't do what your friends or your neighbor has done. Fanya kitu tu uangalie useme, this is what I want to do. A colleague of mine alienda akaona biashara mzuri sana ya salon. Na akaenda bank akachukua 600K akaenda kuinvest pale. But she didn't know that there is management. For that business to grow, there are some businesses, my dear brethren, you must be there for them to grow. Otherwise, pesa itapotea. So this lady alikuwa anafika jioni anauliza, biashara ikoaje? Naambia leo kuko chini, hata customers hawaja kuja. But Kwa sababu gani? Because it is a weekday. But when she takes a day off, that day is very nice. Pesa iko nini? So akaambiwa na jirani, alikuwa hapo, akamwambia, hey sister, fanya hivi, to install CCTV so that you count those guys who are coming in. Ikabidi afikirie, then what about, but the time when I install CCTV, pesa imekulwa yote. So ikabidi afunge biashara, because there are so many things that will require your presence for that business to grow. Do your own research. Fanya feasibility study. What does this thing entail? Inataka nini ili ifike hapa? And I tell you, there is no small level of starting. Start somewhere. Na pesa haitoshi. Number 2, establish personal spending plan. As I said, I'll still be quoting Mama mostly, because she works with a plan. No matter how much money, if we have 10,000, and she tells me, unless kuna kitu imetokea ya dharura, this has to take us through 3 weeks. It will have. Atapangia chakula, nini. Mimi ndo nitakuja nimwambie, mami sijakula nyama, I need meat. Lakini haja pangia, because she told me it is going to run us for 3 weeks. And not that because the money is not there, because she's working towards a spending budget. Our problem is because when we see money, you start thinking about things you have never done. I do a reference to a relative of mine who stays in a very nice house, rental. I told her, please come, I show you somewhere you build. But they did not want that idea. They pay roughly 70,000 a month. It is a good business to the landlord. In fact, if they were my tenants, ningeshukuru sana. If they get extra money, ni watu wa mpira sana. Utasikia ameenda kuangalia mpira Ulaya, kuangalia Manchester ikicheza. Nilikuwa nataka kuona mchezaji fulani akicheza hivi, akichenga fulani. Akirudi namuuliza, how much have you spent? Mzee, pesa ile nilikuwa nayo yote imeisha. Si unitafutie kitu. 700k imeenda, sijui nini. 700k imeenda. You are paying rent. So you don't have a spending plan. You could have invested this money. Lack of spending plan. And nimesema, any money is good money. It depends on how you spend it. Understand liquidity restrictions. There are so many restrictions with the investments. So many. Kuna moja inataka cash flow mingi, kuna ingine inataka kidogo, kuna ingine ukiweka, for example, a fixed deposit, ukiweka, if you break a fixed deposit, it comes with a penalty. There are those pesa kama umeinvest mahali uweze ukaitoa haraka. Understand all those things, because they are very important when making investment decisions. Also, research more on the tax implications. Every business has a tax implication. What we do, we just avoid paying tax or evade paying tax. Every business, according to the Kenyan law, we must pay tax. But kwa nini usiangalie biashara ile instead ya kukataa kulipa ushuru? A business that you can pay less tax. I'm sorry, but sometimes hata sisi si wazuri. We find sometimes tumefanya evasion, tumefanya avoidance. And avoidance is good because you just look for something else, you just increase some expenses, but it is not good. It is bad. So if KRA ikuje kupata ukifanya vitu za aina hiyo, you will still look for a tax person to advise you on how to maneuver when you overcome that challenge. Gauge your risk preference. What is your risk appetite? How much can you chew? When investing, there are so many sources of capital. You can do your own capital, that is savings. You can get a loan. You can sell shares from your company. And all these have implications. Like those three I've mentioned, if you sell shares from your company, you get money. But it is diluting the control. Kama nilikuwa ni mimi na mama, tulikuwa tunaongea. Tukileta msee mwingine kwa business, atakuja na pesa. But that person, atakuwa anaweza sema no. Na no yake, iko na, it has a value. So, but kuna capital mzuri on saving. Hiyo ni pesa yako. Unasema nime-invest 10,000, I want to start this business. You can also take loan. It can be a loan from a friend who will decide, I'm not going to give interest, but you will return at some point. Another one is consult an advisor. I mentioned that as I was starting that I'm also an advisor in terms of these things. But there are some barriers to financial success or to investments. What are these barriers? And I will just take a few minutes so that we finish. No, I've taken longer. Low income is also an issue. Low saving rates. All this I will explain it just once. One source of active income, I think I had explained something to do with that, do with diversification, kuwa na vitu mingi, zile zinaleta pesa. Bad debt, nime-explain sahi nikasema ukichukua loan, ambayo inakula interest, pesa itashuka. Poor investment decisions, unataka kuinvest nini? Those are other issues which affect a lot. Now, we are almost winding up. But I would want to know, yes, you have your money and you have investments. How can you honor your God with the investments you have and with the money you have? Sometimes we don't honor our God. I'll take you through some few points on how you can honor your God. Venye unaweza mtukuza Mungu na kila amekupatia. Number one, do your offerings, do your tithe. I will just be quoting some verses. If you read Proverbs chapter 3 verse 9, it talks about honor the Lord with your wealth. What God has given you, honor God with that. By doing, in fact, hatupaswi kukuja kukumbushwa, you are supposed to come with offering. Just come with offering. Just tithe. Upaswi kukumbushwa. 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 7, it talks that each of you should give what you have decided in your heart. Nimesema, you are not supposed to be told, come and leo tunatoa 200. Tunatoa 200 zote. No. With what you have decided with your heart. Number two, how you can honor God with your investment and money. It is taking care of your parents. I'll tell you, cash is real, and it comes in different ways. If you have money, which I know you have money, take care of your parents. Do not let your parents suffer when you have money. There was a friend nilimuuliza, do you give anything to your dad? No. To your mom? No. Why? Ati walinifukuza kwa nyumba. Watafute. Because you'll be having a lot of money, but you cannot invest because there is no blessing. You'll never have that thought. Utafikiria kufanya kitu mzuri na kusaidia na hiyo pesa, because that parent curse. Exodus 20:12 talks about honor your father and your mother so that you may live a long time in the land that God has given you. Just honor. It is freely. Just honor them. 1 Timothy 5:4. It was this man of God was talking about a widow. And this is what he said. So if a widow has children or grandchildren, let them first learn to show godliness to their own family. Mimi usikuje kunionyesha. Kama niko na shida and you don't give your people any help, don't assist me. Pastor, if anyone does not, it is very tough. If does not honor their people, their mother, their father, they are not blessed. Curse is just following them. And that is the truth. No matter how the parents are. Najua wengine ni kisirani na wengine ni wazuri. But we thank God for them. Number 3, participating in charity works and compassion. Ni mara ngapi umepeana, umesaidia mtu? I like giving without a return. And I like giving even to people I don't know. Nasikia huyu mtu amesema shida yake nini na ninapata nilikuwa nimepangia. Mama nituma mahali. But I have some money. I'll just give something na niende. Whether it is true or not. Proverbs 11:24-25. One person is generous. Verse 24. One person is generous. I don't know whether the fashion which will be displayed is the same, but one person is generous and yet grows wealthier. Okay? But another one withholds more than he should and comes to poverty. I'll tell you, brethren, usiweke pesa yote kwa mfuko. Mungu amekupatia, ujisaidie na usaidie mtu mwingine. Be participating in charity. Peana kitu. Learn to eat with another person. I even tell my wife, if I get some money somewhere, if I do something and I'm paid, nitatembea hivi nione our soldier pale, nimwambie soldier, ningependa ukule. And it is my practice. Ningependa ukule kitu. I'll give 1,000. Any money I have, it is within, tumeamua, I'll give that person. Because I know there is power in giving. Verse 25 says, a generous person will be enriched. And the one who provides water for others will himself be satisfied. Learn to give something. Honor God with what he has given you. Honor God with that. And also Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burden. And in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. There are so many Bible verses which talks about honoring, giving charity. I talked about debt payment. Lipa madeni. Wacha mtu aache kukasirikia kwa sababu ulienda na deni yake, ulienda na pesa yake. pay your debt. Deni yako lipa. Debt, all your debt you must pay. Romans 13:8 talks about that. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt. Ile debt inaendelea, ile deni inaendelea, ndio inapaswa kuwa iko standing. It is Bible, it is not me. Romans 13:8. Proverbs 22:7 talks about the rich rules over the poor, and the borrowers are the slaves of the lenders. Make sure umelipa deni, because if you continue being a slave, my brethren, then haitakuwa mzuri kwa sababu utaendelea kulipa sana. We are almost winding up. 10 principles, financial principles that are by biblical in terms of investments. I know those you can read. I'll just mention them. God is the source. God is the provider that we know, and we can't bet about it. Giving is essentials. In fact, God the source, we can get it. Philippians 4:19. You can get that. It talks about, my God shall supply all your needs. We all know that. Giving essentials, which Luke 6:38 talks about, give and it shall be given unto you. Usitake kupewa saa zote. Live on the margin. Make sure you have a plan. I talked about a plan. Save your money. It is godly to save my money. Bible, Proverbs 21:20 talks about, there is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but foolish man spends it up. Everything, make sure you save. Don't spend everything. I talked about keep out of debt. I'm not going to repeat that. Kuna kitu ingine, secret of contentment. Si utosheke tu. Hebrews 13:5 inasema, let your conversation be without covetousness. Ama ile naitwaje, ile kwa jicho mbaya. Ama yes. So there are these secrets of tosheka na ile uko nayo. Keep records and budgets. Make sure in every investment you do, whatever you do, keep record. My wife is in charge of that. Every investment, pastor, if you come and you ask for any investment that I show you, ask for a book. It is there. We have accounted for every cent that goes out. Keep everything. Budgets and records. Do not co-sign. Co-sign means there is taking loan together and signing for someone. Be very careful when you're doing that, because watu wengi wamepoteza pesa. Nitakuja nikwambie, sister, si unisainie hapa, nichukue loan na nitakuwa nikilipa, then nipotee. You'll be paying that loan peke yako. And imeumiza watu wengi. Work hard. Then the last one, seek godly counsel. This one you get Proverbs 15:22, whereby without counsel, purposes are disappointed. Without that proper counsel, godly counsel, purposes or plans are disappointed. But in the multitude of counselors, they are established. I want to add with 2 quotes. I have a lecturer by the name Dr. Triba, whom I like quoting so much. He tells me, in everything you do, make sure you quote. And I quote Proverbs 13:22. And that is for the investors and people who want to grow money. And whichever version you read, it talks about a good man. A good man. Man is general. A good man leaves inheritance to his children's children. But the wealth of the sinner is stored for the righteousness. Unless we interpret it vibaya, you cannot, if you don't apply whatever I said, you cannot get what is stored for the righteousness. Make sure you leave inheritance And the last one is Proverbs 11, which I read, 24, 25, which I said, one person is generous, but is yet grows wealthy because he gives money. And the other one, since he withholds, he does not get money. Pastor, if I sign off at that point, God will be praised.
Si tumpatie Yesu makofi zaidi.